Okay, to start off with, the project itself is, as I mentioned in the post, done for window tinting or a window tinting company. And as such, these are window tinting patterns. Now, these are thumbnails. You'll notice that we're logged in here at the SolarGuard Window Films website. So as we come, I've done the first two in the Cadillac division area. So I am right here on number 3. I open this in a new tab, and you see the full-sized image for the Cadillac Calais from 71 to 76. I right-click on the image, make sure that I'm copying it. Then I come over to Photoshop. Normally I will add an extra 10 pixels to the height and width, so it'll start out already by giving me a little edge all the way around. If there's an extra piece missing, I'll zoom in and copy a pixel and move it so that it edits in. This one's fine. It doesn't have a lot of visor, so I'll do a couple of these so you can see them. I simply crop it, copy, Control N, Control V. I made a small mistake. Forgot to flatten the layers. Copy, Control N, Control V. There we go. Now all I have to do is I take text, Arial setting for text, bold font. For the windows we do size 36, and in the very center I put a number. So for this case it's a 1. Put it roughly in the center. Once the window has been numbered, or windows have been numbered, after that part I resize the image. I keep the constraint portion set. The only thing I'm changing is the width down to 445, so that if he changes his blog, he will still be able to fit this image within as narrow as 450 pixels wide. If there are sun visors, I add the ABC, which you'll see in further examples. And then I save. Very simple work. It is a Cadillac. I come over here, I copy the word Calais. Making sure I get the same exact name, Cadillac-Calais-1971 to 1976. Now the image is named exactly what the picture is named on the website. I'll do a few of these so you can see some examples. I'll try to pick out one that has a few things. Here's a good example down here, and another one right here. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to skip over. I'd like to keep these in order normally, but I'm going to skip over to this one. And you'll notice that on this window there are 2, but one of them has a fancy cut. This is called a matrix cut, and for these we remove the matrix cut because it's too much to expect someone ordering from home to be able to figure out. So the owner wants any matrix cut to be removed. Now there may be other window styles where there's a notch taken out at the bottom for a stoplight or little notches on the side, but this is a complete cut that you can see, and therefore it's what they call matrix style, and he wants that removed. So what I would do with that one, copy it, come over to Photoshop. Again, I add 10 pixels. And now normally, and I'll show you on this one just in case there isn't, if we were keeping this, you'll notice that there's a small gap here on the upper right area of the window. You may have different ways of doing this, and if it were just me doing it and not making a video, I'd probably be done as well. But for the sake of argument, and just in case anyone watching the video isn't as proficient with Photoshop, I did mention that anyone with light editing skills should be able to do this. It appears that that's approximately 2 pixels, and you can start to see as you expand this that each pixel is quarantined off into little squares. So all I do is copy 2 of those squares, hit Control C, Control V, You'll notice that I'm able to copy them and place them in there. And then I go back here and control number 1 will reduce it to full size, and now there's not any gap there. However, as we're cutting off the matrix, this isn't needed. I would instead actually take this part of the image completely out. Control X. Control X. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm running a business, so the phone's going to ring time to time. Flatten the image. Someone else can get that. And we crop. Now in this case, it's already going to be more than 445 narrowly widthed, so I'm not going to reduce it. Again, let's put a 1 in the center of the window. It's responding a little slowly. I apologize because I'm doing the filming. And now, after cropping, make sure you do this only after cropping. And again, we don't have to for this one because it's already narrower than 445 in width. After cropping, I always create a second layer, or another option that my graphic designer has shown me is to click Alt and then down while in the actual layer current, and it will create a copy. And then I can bring that copy down here. And we just double click here. For the letters, I make them a size 14 font. So this is an A, as I've mentioned in the past. Alt, down, it copies it. Double click, this is a B. And move this down, and this image as well is now done. So I can save for web service. Let's get the name of that Cadillac. It is a CTS sedan. And the year of that is a 2003 to 2007 for that particular model. Now that one's done. I'm going to do one more for the sake of example. I'm going to show one with a sunroof. Open in a tab. And you'll notice that on this one, well, that might not even be a good image example because that does look like a double-sided sunroof. If there is more than one sunroof option, the client has requested that we only keep one of them available. But sometimes you'll see that it's a longer sunroof, and in that case, you do need to keep that there and visible as an option. Here's a Cadillac Escalade. Let me open that up and see if it's what I think it is. I should actually call the client to make sure, but I believe these are back windows. They're a little narrow though, so I will call the client to make sure on that one. See if I can find one that has a couple of each so that I can show you a better example. As I mentioned in the post, most of these only have one of each or maybe one or two. And in the Cadillac section, this is definitely no different. For the sake of argument, let's assume that these are back windows. And I'll show you these are door windows, obviously. Copy image. And again, I'm going to make this 610 by 410 so that I automatically have my padding built in. That didn't come out quite right. White. 610 by 410. There we go. For whatever reason, it didn't work out properly the first time. In this case, I believe that I can actually crop this sunroof and move it over. So I'm going to try that. Let's move this over here. Yeah, that should be no problem. Let's try moving that up so that it's somewhat centered. Okay, now I am going to flatten the image. I am going to crop it. Actually, I'm going to start over here from this edge. Again, I don't do this all the time. I'm a firm believer that if I can do this in 3 to 5 minutes, and if you have experience with graphics, this is something that should be almost second nature for you. Super, super simple, easy work. In this case, we're showing what I believe are multiple rear windows. Before we actually crop it down to 445, you'll notice I'm setting the rear window setting to Arial Bold, size 36. I'm going to put this in the middle of the window. And I'm going to Alt down, turn that into a 3 because that's going to become the one below it. Then for number 1, I'm also going to Alt over, call that a number 2, scoot that over, give that a few seconds. Now obviously I'm doing things a lot slower than someone who's really good with this is going to be. Plus I'm filming, which makes it slow down quite a bit. We shrink the image to 445 wide. You notice that some of them are a little bit taller and some of them are not. Alt, make that a size 14 and an A. Or even better, I'm going to move that all the way to the bottom and call it a C. This is the sun visor. These are the thin strips that go across the front of the windshield of the vehicle. Super easy work, this being one of the more complex ones. And as you can see already, this is really, really easy. There we go. I had a little getting it to copy over. And then we just simply move that up and we're done. This image is ready for the website. Go back over here to the Escalade EXT. And we simply save it. Cadillac hyphen Escalade hyphen EXT hyphen, and then we add in the year. This particular pattern worked from 2007 to 2011. And the image is done. That's all the cropping, that's all the editing, that's everything. On rare occasion you'll see more than one type of door panel, and it'll be obvious because they'll be identical with a small change, like a little dot where the air vent might go at the front of the front window. Very, very minor, and I just use XYZ for those. I've never seen more than 3 of them. Much like you see the A, B, C here on the front visor. Just a little off to the left, not quite dead center like the rear windows are. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact me via Skype and via email. I'd really like to get this part of the project done within the next 10 days. So I'm going to be working with you closely, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.